ready, my asylum patients? Gothic Slenderman. We all know when a piece of media gets released, whether that be a movie, TV show, manga, anime, a comic, or piece of literature, there's going to be some pieces of content that didn't make it in the final version. Whether that be because just wouldn't work for the story, or because of hardware limitations. And the Kingdom Hearts series is no minority to this. So today I'm going over the top 10 removed concepts from the Kingdom Hearts series. Now, I'm not going to go over just 10 pieces of content, but in each and every section of the list I'm going to go over a different idea and game in the series. So without further ado, let's begin. Pre-Kingdom Hearts. This is basically in development of the very first Kingdom Hearts and the entire series in general. So let's begin. Disney originally wanted Mickey Mouse to be the main character, but Square wanted Donald. However, game developer Tetsuya Nomura actually didn't like either idea, and wanted a character based on the Disney design to be the main character. When you look at Sora's design in Kingdom Hearts 1, you see yellow shoes, red shorts, and white gloves, just like Mickey Mouse. However, this isn't the first design of Sora. Sora was originally going to have a lion-like design and his chainsaw-like keyblade. I kind of hope this chainsaw-like keyblade gets released in Kingdom Hearts 3 as kind of a nod to the original design or like a hidden reference or something like that. But this could have also gone with the Disney-like story. That's right. Originally, Kingdom Hearts was going to have more of a simple and Disney-like design. But Tetsuya Nomura wanted more of a complex story to appeal to Final Fantasy fans. Also, there's this Fantasy alternate logo, because why the fuck not? Kingdom Hearts 1. In the main Kingdom Hearts games, including Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, and most likely Kingdom Hearts 3, there have been cutscenes that have been either entirely removed or take place in different areas. Like Riku being in places he's not supposed to be, that saucy bastard. And I'll go over this a lot more often throughout the series. Also, there are these fancy face textures. Ugh. MP cosplay was originally associated with certain spells. Inside the game's data, there is an Alice in Wonderland version of the Dive into the Heart station. Whether maybe they wanted an extra floor for tutorials or they couldn't find a purpose for it, it was never fully implemented. The Assault Rider was supposed to be a Heartless inside Kingdom Hearts 1, but they couldn't find a good location to put it inside the game, so they saved it for Kingdom Hearts 2, where they put it inside the Land of Dragons. Mickey's role is very limited in Kingdom Hearts 1, where he's just a missing king and only has a few pieces of dialogue at the end of the game. This is because Disney limited Square's use of the character up until the sequel, Chain of Memories. Originally, Maleficent was going to be the final boss. This could go with the Disney-like story that they were going with, and also why the boss is renowned for being quite difficult. However, it was changed for Ansem to be the boss, and there was also an entire location inside the world, End of the World, removed from the game called Crumbling Islands, which is a place where Sora and Riku were going to have their final battle. But instead, Riku was nowhere inside this world, and the place they had their final battle was Hollow Bastion. Entire worlds are removed from Kingdom Hearts 1. Disney Castle would be seen in early trailers of the game. Sora will also get his chance to be in Disney Castle in Kingdom Hearts 2. The Pride Lands from the Lion King were originally also going to be rolled in Kingdom Hearts 1, but they couldn't find a believable engine to make Sora walk on 4 legs. This would later on come back in Kingdom Hearts 2. However, most recently was an entirely removed world that never came into the Kingdom Hearts series again. Inside an art book for Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD Remix were early concepts for Destiny Islands, Disney Castle, and a world based on Toy Story. This world was never implemented because of an ownership dispute that was going on between Disney and Pixar that would have been going for at least 2002 to 2006. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Dive into the Heart was supposed to be a world inside Chain of Memories, but it was never implemented. However, this also shows we're supposed to get different dialogue scenes, with the characters' heads literally taking up the entire screen. In another shot, we also see there were supposed to be turn-based battles, instead of the fantastic gameplay that we've got. Yes, everybody loves this, right? Also, the world, Deep Jungle, and the Keyblade Jungle King from the original Kingdom Hearts were supposed to return, but because of licensing, it couldn't come back. And the character Axel was originally supposed to be permanently defeated like the other members of the organization. However, the character designer who made Axel loved him so much he basically begged Tetsuya Nomura to put him in other games. The last piece of trivia in Chain of Memories goes with its remake Chain of Memories, where they originally were going to have 3D cards instead of 2D sprites for cards. Kingdom Hearts 2. Once again suffering from removed cutscenes and changed scenes, and in one of the scenes we also see that 2 Heartless are removed from the game. The Behemoth and Wyvern from the original Kingdom Hearts were going to be in the 1000 Heartless scene, and also in the Kingdom Hearts 2, but they were never implemented. Unused models for young Riku in his original attire, and young Riku in the Organization 13 coat are also in the game's data but are never actually used inside the game, with other unused models that are not complete. The original money sprite from Kingdom Hearts 1 was seen in early trailers. Whether this was just a placeholder or they're originally going to use the money sprite for Kingdom Hearts 2, that is unknown. However, that's not the only thing. High Ethers were originally supposed to be in Kingdom Hearts 2, but were never fully implemented. Only the sprite of the High Ether remains. Along with that, though, in the game's data, is an alternate version of the song Lazy Afternoons. There are 2 Keyblades that are still in the game's data as well, and can be accessed through coding, called the Edge of Ultima and a Detection Star. Most likely, the Edge of Ultima would have been a very difficult Keyblade to get, considering it is called Edge of Ultima, and the Ultima is known for being very difficult, and I remember I finally got it, and when I began the Kingdom Hearts 2 Let's Play back when I was like, it was 2010, I accidentally saved over that data. I'm a fucking idiot. Also, Axel was supposed to be permanently defeated inside Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. But this, once again, didn't happen because everybody loves Axel. Xemnas was originally also going to get 2 different final boss forms, the King and the Kentaurus. However, these were never fully implemented, most likely because of hardware limitations, because of their size and how much action is going on in Kingdom Hearts. You could argue that because of Shadow of the Colossus, this proves this wrong, but you could see that the King and Kentaurus were much bigger than most of the Colossi, and there's too much action going on in Kingdom Hearts 2 than there is Shadow of the Colossus to really even, well, let's say if Sora was fighting Heartless and a random Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus got inside the fight, it would either lag or crash because of how much action was going on. The last piece of trivia goes to Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, where Woody and Buzz Lightyear were originally going to be summons for the game. However, this was because the ownership disputes finally ended, but if you want to implement anything from Pixar, you have to actually go to them and ask. And that's why we haven't seen anything from Pixar so far. But there's still hope for Kingdom Hearts 3 and a lot of rumors. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. In promotional art, there was an older Roxas scene instead of the one that we know and love. This is a possibility, maybe a different story for 358 over 2 days, or maybe a different story in general. Who knows, maybe there could have been something different that they wanted to tell for the entire series. I mean, I can't tell whether or not they wrote the entire series down since the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, like they did for the whole, let's make every Pixar movie in a lunch meeting, but it is possible, I'm not sure. There are also different weapon palettes that were not implemented inside the game, called the Midnight Roar and Twilight. The Windmaker attack from the Wind Gear was not implemented, however the Windmaker's appearance was given to the Leviathan. Inside 2006 to 2007 build of the game was a bar dedicated to just magic and a bar dedicated to just the limit breaks. There are also battle sprites inside these early versions as well. A Pinocchio world was originally supposed to be in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, but not Monstro the Whale, what could later become Prankster's Paradise and Dream Drop Distance. In this world, Xion and Roxas would see a puppet that has a heart, and become sad that they don't have a heart. Sad day. Where is me? Agony! Also, Honest John and Gideon were originally supposed to be in this world, as they're not even in Prankster's Paradise and Dream Drop Distance. Their talk sprites are inside the game, along with Megaraz and Hades, meaning that they're originally going to be in the Olympus Coliseum. Darkseid was supposed to be the boss inside Beast Castle, rather than Dark Follower. There was going to be an entire Heartless in the game, called Crooked Chariots, that used lightning attacks, and most likely was going to appear in Olympus Coliseum. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. The biggest piece of trivia that no one ever talks about is that the game was originally supposed to be on the PlayStation 2 rather than the PSP. Also, this game suffered from alternate seats. But I want to go over something rather unique. Here we see Terra saving Ventus inside the caverns where the 1,000 Heartless were in Kingdom Hearts 2. Maybe this was an area you were supposed to be in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, but it was never implemented. In early trailers, characters were not where they're supposed to be, such as Terra in the cottage in Dwarf Woodlands, and Ven in the courtyard for Castle of Dreams. Also, in early designs, Aqua had darker hair and darker eyes, and an exposed back, because we can all have fat backs, right? Someone at Square Enix or Disney was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I have a fetish for that? That might be going too far. I'm sorry, guys. We gotta get rid of this now. Also, the Lightseeker, also known as Kingdom Key D, was originally going to be given to Ventus. Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch was originally going to be in deep space, but never fully implemented. However, his model is still in the game. Textures for a large treasure chest for the Land of Departure is in the game's files, but not implemented as well. Mirage Arena was originally going to have a story, and I'll get back to that very shortly. But not just that, an entire world was removed, even though it was partially through development, the Jungle Book. You can still somewhat access the world, but it was never finished. Maybe they wanted Sora to go to this world, but then again, why didn't they put in Dream Drop Distance? Maybe they wanted Kingdom Hearts 3? I don't know. Hopefully it makes an appearance, because it just kind of seems unfair that they have a world that's basically almost done, but never implemented. The last piece of trivia goes to Birth by Sleep Final Mix, where there was supposed to be a Kingdom Hearts 3 demo. Models of Ansem, Xemnas, the Twilight Thorn, Sora, Riku, and Kairi, and various other elements were inside the game's data, but not turned into this fancy demo. Coded and recoded. Originally in the mobile game Kingdom Hearts Coded, Shadow Soras were supposed to be in Traverse Town. Now, I never played Kingdom Hearts Coded, so I'm not sure if Shadow Soras are even in the game, so I could be wrong, and they're not even supposed to be in the game in general, but this is just what I've got. Also, in the remake for DS, Recoded, there was supposed to be 3 5 over 2 days communication sprites, but then we got these things which look far superior. Dream Drop Distance. Once again, alternate scenes and whatnot. Flow motion was used in different areas they're not supposed to in the first trailer. The early drop gauge had a gradient from violet to magenta to cream. There was an alternate dual icon in the game's data. And also, one of the most interesting things, Heartless and Nobodies were originally going to be the enemy inside this game, but the Dream Eaters took their spot, which also meant that one of the concepts of Sora fighting Twilight Thorn was removed, which is a shame because this is the only Nobody boss that Sora has never faced. The Kingdom Key D, or Lightseeker, was supposed to be given to Riku. It's still in the game's data, and it also has a variation of it that goes with the grid. The Windmill Training Toy is depicted in the Ultimania, which claims to have a special gift for street passing, a function on the 3DS. A second unused training toy is inside the game with its sprite, but not fully implemented. Queen Buzzerfly was originally going to be a smaller Heartless you could fight normally, not during the drop sequence, and an entire Dream Eater was removed, which would have been a rabbit that would throw carrots. Sora was originally going to go to Space Paranoids, as Riku was going to go to the grid, but it was decided that both Sora and Riku go to the grid. As also, Sora was originally going to go to Fantasia, and Riku was originally going to go to Fantasia 2000, but Tetsuya Nomura has said that Fantasia has enough content for both stories. Cancelled games. Did you know Disney originally wanted to create their own Kingdom Hearts game called Kingdom Hearts Fragmented Keys? There are multiple sketches and pieces of concept art for this game, but it was never fully created. Inside this game, we also have a few worlds that would have been implemented, such as Video Game Central for Wreck-It Ralph, Arendelle from Frozen, and 2 special worlds, the Marvel Cinematic Universe and A Galaxy Far, Far Away. Which means Disney is okay with Marvel and Star Wars being in Kingdom Hearts. I'm not sure if that's going to be in Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I don't want people going on about that because that's not the point in this video. I have my own opinions on the subject, you do, but that's not the point in this video, but you're gonna do it anyway, aren't you? Damn it. And what if I were to tell you that Dissidia Final Fantasy was originally going to be a Kingdom Hearts game? Square actually had the idea of kind of like a fighting-ish game, set up, kind of like fighting how Dissidia is, but with Kingdom Hearts. But they weren't sure if Disney would be okay with their characters fighting one another, so they changed their project over to Dissidia Final Fantasy. However, they were too quick to judge, since Disney was already trying to make their own Super Smash Bros.-like game, but it never came to be either, along with this Spy Mickey game, because everybody cares about that. Final Fantasy inclusions. You're probably wondering why I didn't talk about any Final Fantasy inclusions inside the other sections, but decided to give Final Fantasy its own section. The Bahamut, a famous summon in the Final Fantasy series, was originally going to be a summon in Kingdom Hearts 1. It's still in the game's data, but if you try to access it, it will simply crash the game. Riku, with 2 Ks from Final Fantasy X, was originally going to be in Leon's group in Traverse Town, but was removed because she had the same name as the character Riku. And considering this is the first installment of what will become an entire series, they don't want to confuse players. Riku would eventually make it into Kingdom Hearts 2 along with the other Gullwings. Tifa and Vincent Valentine were originally going to be in Olympus Coliseum along with Cloud and Sephiroth, but were removed because of time constraints. Tifa would eventually make it into Kingdom Hearts 2, and Vincent Valentine has yet to make an appearance within Kingdom Hearts, but Tetsuya Nomura has said that he's wanted to see Vincent inside Kingdom Hearts. The Final Fantasy VII crew was originally going to be in Radiant Garden for Birth by Sleep, but was not implemented because there was already so much going on in that world that would have been too complex. I mean, with Scrooge McDuck, Merlin, 100 Acres, the some bodies of some members of the organization, and the conflict between Aqua Terra and Ventus, I could see where they're coming from. And remember when I mentioned the Mirage Arena story? Well, the reason that story was removed was because the head of the arena was going to be Laguna Lore from Final Fantasy VIII. However, it was not implemented because of their lack of appearance inside Dissidia 012 Final Fantasy. I guess they wanted to have a character with relevance or something? I don't know. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you learned something today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, maybe favorite, and subscribe if you'd like to see some more. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We all see fish in the ceiling at least once in our lives. Sushi, Malasa, Amida,